So explain to me what happened with the whole Silicon Valley Bank situation, because that affected me as well. I mean, I have companies right now that still owe me money because they were banking with Silicon Valley Bank, and they had clients that were banking with Silicon Valley Bank, and it created a real clusterfuck of a situation. Well, what exactly happened from your point of view?
Well, the bank failed, right? So banks fail. Credit Suisse failed. Nobody even talks about this. This happened in the last 18 months. This is the largest bank failure in the history of the United States of America. But we just move on to it like it's nothing, because what do? We go to Ukraine, so nobody remembers it. Can't sell Ukraine, so guess what happens on October the 5th, I think it was. Israel gets invaded. Okay, these are all cover-ups, dude, of other things. Okay, this is called hide-the-weenie. Okay, wars are the friends of banks. Okay, we have a banking problem in America. We have hundreds of banks that are at risk right now, like SVB and Credit Suisse. We have banks that are booking their assets at values that do not exist. And you have people that are worried. Nobody likes to hear this. This is why I don't keep money in banks. I only use a bank as a facility to hold money until I can get it into a real estate asset. I want that real estate asset to be my bank. And this cycle is going to create the biggest real estate opportunity in my lifetime. Is going to happen right now in the next 24 months. This rental property thing is going to explode in this country because people will not trust banks. We have the American consumer has more credit card debt than they've ever had in the last 25 years at the highest rates. Some of these rates are 25 and 28%. Freaking insane. We have the highest college debt we've ever had at $1.7 trillion or something. We have used car valuations going down, inventories in car dealerships going down, and we have delinquencies on cars starting to slow down. The mortgage applications that you mentioned, 28-year lows.
Yeah.
Rents are starting to flatten out. Yet Jerome Powell
or go down in certain areas. So for example, where I used to live, Oakland had like the biggest drop in a major city in terms of rental fees than like in decades.
Yeah.
It's crazy right now.
Yeah. And they will come down. They'll continue to come down. My portfolio will flatten out and maybe come down. They're going to come down for 24. They're going to come down probably for 25. And then in 26, 27, and 28, they will explode.
Well, let's talk about Airbnb. Because
disaster.
That was something that came in that sort of, it made people think that they could turn their property into actual functioning businesses. But right now, supply is actually outpacing demand, and everyone's having to sell their Airbnbs because they can't support whatever mortgage or underlying cost of these Airbnbs. Me personally, I hate Airbnb. I've never had a good experience in an Airbnb. If I travel, I go to a hotel. That's it. I mean, like, for example, there's a really famous rapper, named Pop Smoke that some years ago, he decided to stay in an Airbnb, and he was like flashing, some of his jewelry and stuff like that. A bunch of guys showed up to try to rob him and ended up killing him at the Airbnb. And I used to always say that if he was staying, at the SLS hotel, he would be alive right now. And I spoke to him like a week before he died. Yeah. So I'm like, I hate Airbnbs. Just the concept of them, I hate them.
Yeah. Well,
so
look,
what's happening with the Airbnbs from your perspective?
I like using Airbnbs when I travel. You're just staying at the wrong Airbnbs and you're not carrying any security with you. But, I've used some great homes around the world. Now, I've always said that being an Airbnb real estate investor would turn out to be a disaster once the locals in Atlanta and New York and Colorado and California came up and said, hey, you can't do short-term rentals. Okay, I said 2-3 years ago, this will be outlawed by every city in America that has big hotel presence.
Yeah, I think in Brooklyn right now, they've passed a law that's saying you could only Airbnb for 30 days or higher.
And there can only be 2 people there, and you have to be there with them while they do it. Who wants to do that shit?
Right, you destroyed the business.
That's an orgy, okay? That's not a business.
So do you think the Airbnb will I mean,
They overbuilt for it.
Nashville,
Nashville, Tennessee will be a disaster of Airbnb. Okay. It will go down in history as an epic failure where too many people went and built Airbnb, short-term rentals, thinking this is going to last forever. This is a short-term mindset. Real estate has never been a short-term game. Don't try to turn long-term wealth creation into a get-rich-quick scheme. It will always blow up in your face. Okay, I've never done one. I could have blown up my returns by doing this. Why do it, dude? It ain't gonna last. And it didn't, and it won't.
You know, people don't understand the difference between gambling and investing. If you're trying to jump in something and jump back out, you're just gambling. You might as well just go to the casino. Investing means you buy something and you plan on never selling it. I've got Google stock from 2010 that I haven't touched. You know, I mean, and I don't have any plans on touching it. You know, this house that I own, I don't plan on ever selling it. But for example, I just went to Atlanta, my friend Boosie's house. He lives on an 88-acre property that he's never going to sell. He's built 7 homes on it at this point. He has kids. There's streets named after his kids. And it's just amazing to see someone say, I know this is not something I'm going to flip. I know this is not something I'm going to churn around and sell. This is something I'm going to hold on forever. And it's multi-generational wealth. And, you know, listen, I'm now a property owner as well, but I understand that for any investment, if you don't plan on staying in it for at least 10 years, just don't even bother.
Yeah, but I mean, look, let's just be clear. And you said this earlier. Your home is not an investment.
Yeah.
So I don't want the viewer to say, oh, I'm buying a house, I'm going to stay in it 10 years. Your home is not an investment, guys. Yeah. It's a place to live, okay? It's a place to live.
Especially if you have a mortgage.
It doesn't matter, even if you don't have a mortgage, dude. The fact that you don't have a mortgage, it doesn't matter. I bought that house in Malibu.
No, still not investment because it could fluctuate. It could go down $1 million next year, and there's nothing I could do about it.
I paid $40 million for that house in Malibu. I wrote a check for it. I could be earning 5.5% on that money today. So it's costing me $2.5 million a year not to have that money.
Oh yeah, no, you could put it like, for example, Apple has a savings account.
Yeah,
you could get 5% guaranteed from Apple.
Yeah,
exactly.
So that's all I'm saying. There's no free lunch here, right? If you buy a house, then you got to paint the walls. Then you got to have your attention fixed on it. If you can go out and make a couple $100,000 or $400,000 or $1 million a year, what are you doing fucking cutting your yard on the weekends? Oh, I got to live someplace. The family's got to live someplace. Your kids don't give a shit where they live, okay?
Yeah, you could rent.
Okay, is your family any happier?
Yes, my family's happier.
Happier than what?
Than when we were renting.
Are you having more sex than you used to have?
About the same.
Exactly. Nothing changed, man. You just live in a different place, okay? Now, you're cool. You're good with it. You know where you're staying. Your career's in place. But a lot of these kids coming up, I'm like, what are you doing, man? Getting fixed in one place. You should be an adventurer right now. You should be taking risks. You should be following money and opportunity, not getting located on 20th Street.